Well, that certainly was a Disney Plus show. Hi, I'm Alex, I'm the Devil's Advocate, and today I'm reviewing episodes 1 and 2 of Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus. Okay, so this is Daredevil's big return to Marvel since the Netflix shows in like 2013, 14, 15. I think that's when that started. There was Daredevil, there was Luke Cage, there was Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and then the four of them together did the Defenders. There was 2 seasons of Iron Fist, 2 seasons of Luke Cage, 3 seasons, of Jessica Jones, and 3 seasons of Daredevil, and 1 season of just the Defenders. And I think 2 Punisher seasons, too. So that was a lot. I watched all of it when it was happening. It was a great time. We all had fun. Then Netflix loses the rights. Disney has to wait a couple of years for legal reasons to start putting those characters into their properties. That time passes, and then we get Daredevil in No Way Home, Spider-Man, right? And that's a big applause moment. But if you watch that movie again now, it's weird how many silences there are, by the way, when like Andrew Garfield shows up and Tobey Maguire. It's strange. Okay. But anyways, Daredevil shows up in She-Hulk, and now we're getting the promised Daredevil sequel series to the Netflix thing. Originally, it seems that Kevin Feige wanted to do like a multiverse, that this wasn't the Netflix Daredevil. Everyone hated that idea, so they were like, alright, we gotta include the Netflix stuff. He wanted to keep it separate. It seems like... what does it feel like? Okay, that's the big question. Can they live up to those Netflix shows? They were very well regarded at the time. DC was doing very well on television as well, with more cookie cutter, the CW, Flash, Arrowverse shows. But they were dominating. But these Marvel shows came out and said, hey, we can do it too, and we can do prestige. And that's what they were. Did they drag on a little too long? Sure, some of them. But overall, very good. Can this Disney Plus show live up to that hype? The answer is no. Of course not. It does very much feel like Disney trying to emulate that style in shot choices, lighting choice, a lot of lens flares in this show. I don't know if they got J.J. Abrams on deck, but you can feel they are taking extra care with this one, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the effort, Disney. I do. They are also not totally shying away from blood and, violence right away. So, again, I see you, Disney. You're showing me, yes, we can do this. Okay. All right, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I know you can do blood. But I appreciate it. Again, all these things are appreciated. We're getting into heavy spoilers in this episode. Not, again, shouting out the channel, but, I am going to spoil the first 2 episodes. So you haven't watched it, if you're interested, I would recommend it. It's good. It leads... Yeah, I'm left, after the first 2 episodes, looking forward to more. And that's what you can hope for a premiere. So, definitely watch it. Going forward, it's spoilers. So, right away, they do the thing that Marvel so often does, where they hype up, here's characters you love, fan favorites are coming back, gonna be reunited at last, right? They did it with Secret Invasion. I bet y'all forgot that Secret Invasion exists. With Maria Hill. They did it here with Foggy and Karen. They said they were going to bring back Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio. They were going to recast initially. Again, I'm glad they reversed on that decision. They Fans begged, can we get Karen back? Can we get Foggy? We want the whole crew. They did. They even throw in Josie in the first opening scene, if you remember Josie's bar that they would go to in the Netflix show. They then kill Foggy right away in the first scene. And in the first scene, we also see Bullseye, which is a thread dangling from the end of the last season, the third season of Daredevil. That Poindexter, aka Bullseye, hilariously played by Colin Farrell in 2003's Daredevil, was going to be in this show, and he shows up right away, and because we knew he was going to be in, he's in the trailers and stuff. He shows up right away, kills Foggy, and Matt tries to kill him. And that's the inciting incident of the series. And I'm reading Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. It seems like they might. There's a hint of a story thread. I think they're going to pick up on, of Daredevil tried to kill someone or accidentally almost killed someone because he throws Bullseye off the roof, like on purpose, trying to kill him, and he doesn't die because thankfully Marvel learned its lesson about not killing off good villains, hopefully, and kept him alive. But also, we're getting his trial, and I'm sure he's going to come back and do more stuff in the show. But that seems to be the crux of what the plot is going forward. Also, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, is running for mayor and then is mayor. Like, right away in episode 1. It does take the whole episode to get there, but it's done. Now, I remember them saying when the show was coming out, it was going to be 19 episodes, or like a bunch, like 20 episodes. I looked on IMDb, and it says there's 9 episodes in season 1 and 9 episodes in season 2. And it says season 2 is 2026. So I don't know if they made 19 and split it in half. I don't know. This production has been all over the place with this show for a while now. But it seems like we're getting 9. I think that's what we're doing. So getting Fisk in office by the end of episode 1, okay, efficiency. We're not. Thought we were going to spend time with the campaign. Again, this is not the Netflix show where it's going to take 13 episodes to get Daredevil to wear the suit again. Episodes 1 and 2 are going to blend together in this review just because I watched them together. If Disney took anything from the Netflix style of these shows, it is let the actors act, and it comes across. We get really good scenes with Foggy and Matt and Karen, and there is this sense of they put more effort into this show than I feel like other shows. My favorite Disney Plus show is Hawkeye. I think it was efficient. I think it was really well shot. The Disney meddling and Marvel meddling, I feel, was minimal. But granted, it was all based on hey, let's make Kate Bishop a thing. It was still tight and told a small story, and it executed it well. I think this show reminds me a lot about that, not just because it's street level heroes, but it's also we're getting time to kind of sit with characters and sit in moments, and I appreciate that about this show. Where I think it's lacking a little is some of the cinematography and lighting. It does a lot of the shots look flat, just gloss, that Marvel gloss. You know what I'm talking about. The CG is what it is. It's Marvel CG at this point, There was a scene early, in the beginning when the Bullseye is shooting at Foggy and things are happening at the bar, at Josie's bar, him jumping around as Daredevil looked very because they always use wide shots. They always use wide shots. I get they darkened it. You know, it was at night, so you can hide a little of the imperfections of the CGI. But man, like I watched a couple episodes of the old Daredevil a couple days ago. Just going from that to this, I'll say this: the biggest difference in how these two shows feel is like in the Netflix ones, you feel very close to people a lot. There's a lot of close-up shots. You feel the grime and grit. It's probably also what kind of camera they're using, and they're also using more real locations probably in the Netflix thing. Also more stunt guys, because again, the CG, the CG, man, in the wide shots, and in this new one, there's a lot more wide shots, big like whole frames, people just flat lighting, you know, not a lot of depth and like choices. You know, there was a lot of shadow use in the Netflix shows, and this one almost non-existent. Again, except for like the night scenes where he's Daredevil, where he's got to be, or specific moments. Like there's a shot at the end of episode 1 where Wilson Fisk wins, and like first of all, he wins the election, and because there's like 15 candidates, they say on the news, like one of them's a stand-up comedian, it's a joke, so then he jumps in and wins, and then like it's, as soon as they announce that he wins, like Matt's on a date with some chick, and again, not Karen. Karen's out of the show almost as fast as Foggy. But hang on. And Wilson wins, and all of a sudden everybody just starts like rioting like immediately, like his fans. And obviously they're doing a parallel to Trump. Again, as much as I don't like him, they didn't riot in the streets when he won in 2024. Speaking of Karen being out of the show, so Foggy dies, right? That's the inciting incident. Then they cut to like after Matt tries to kill Bullseye, he like drops his helmet off the side of the thing. It's missing a piece of the horn, signifying, and that's in the trailer, signifying he's lost a piece of himself. He's not going to be Daredevil. We cut to a year later, and it's the trial. It's this like sentencing thing for Poindexter. That's Karen shows back up, and in the courtroom, and you can tell they haven't spoken, and that's what I mean with the acting. They let them act. Like, we can tell by their body language. We can tell how Matt's reaction, seeing her walk into the courtroom while he's testifying, they haven't spoken. They've been distant. Then when they talk, and this is a really good scene. Matt and Karen sit in the hallway on a bench in the courthouse. And this is a scene where, like, they are using wider angle lenses, but it still feels cramped because one character, like, they're doing a 2-shot, right? So they have Matt and they have Karen, and they have the wide shot of both of them. On Karen, she's all the way on the right side of the screen, and on Matt's shot, he's all the way on the left side of the screen. And there's a lot of empty space on both of their shots, showing the hallway and people walking around so that we feel that we're having an intimate conversation with these two people as the audience, but also we got to keep it quiet because there's other people around and we're in a quiet space, a courthouse. They do a really good job in that scene. The actors too, whispering, and when they, you know, it's a very tense, emotional scene. We can tell they haven't talked in a while. They're both like getting mad at each other, and so they're raising voices, but they also have to keep it down. Very well done. Very well done. That's an effective scene. There's other scenes like at Matt's law firm that are just blown out white lighting, and just there's no depth to the space. Like, how big is this place? Those scenes feel flat. They feel like there's no depth, there's no personality to these spaces. Whereas the courthouse scene, there was a sense of quietness. People are busy going around, and that these two people are having a very emotional, intense conversation on a bench in a hallway. I don't know why that scene was effective. Another scene that was effective, I think it was still in episode 1. Yeah. Matt has a conversation with Kingpin. Like, he sees him on the street. He finds him. Because he hears that he's going to throw his hat in the ring for mayor. And he's like, he wants to sit down with him. He's like, maybe he changed, blah, blah, blah. They have a conversation at a diner. This is also in the trailers. And, it's about New York and how much they love Hell's Kitchen and stuff. They love that tiny little square of Manhattan so much. But anyways, the scene with Matt and Kingpin was great. Their acting was great. I like that they let them. Maybe it was a choice to just have it look a little flat, because it looked a little Disney. There was a lot of hints towards like the other shows, like Echo and Hawkeye and stuff, and there's this sense of like, Matt threatening him, if you step out of line, I'm coming for you. And Wilson saying, if you step out of line, I'm coming for you. And Wilson's thing seems to be going after vigilantes. There's a lot of talk of that in the news in general, questions about it. In the beginning scene, they're at Josie's bar back in Hell's Kitchen. Like, Foggy and Karen and Matt are here and they're back. That's meta for us, like, oh shit, Daredevil's back. But for them, they're like in Hell's Kitchen. They clearly don't live there anymore. They're back at Josie's to celebrate the retirement of their friend Jerry, who was not from the Netflix show, but is just there. And he's an older black man who's an ex-police officer. So there's this sense of like, we're out of here, but we still care about it. But there's going to be something new. And this also goes into like that character Jerry, and then there's this character Kristen, who seems to be someone that, again, initially in the opening scene, Foggy is hitting on her at the bar. She's like seemingly a fellow lawyer. They've known each other. They work together. These are like relationships that we would have seen on the Netflix shows. Now, I understand. You have to like fudge stuff in the years between. We don't know exactly how much time has passed, because then we skip to a year later after Foggy dies for the trial. So we don't even know, like, and that's present day, presumably. You got Kristen and Jerry are these new characters, basically replacing Foggy and Karen, because Karen's out. After the trial, she goes back to San Francisco. Apparently she lives in San Francisco now. Okay, I don't know why Matt didn't hit her up when he was in San Francisco or San Diego for She-Hulk, but he was too busy banging She-Hulk, I guess. So we got these new characters, and I like them. The way that they're trying to just fold them in as if they've always been here is always kind of annoying, just for any show. Where they're like, oh, here's cousin Jimmy, and they're living in the house now on a sitcom because a new actor's here, someone else left. Stuff like that happens, you gotta write around it. So, you got Kristen, who is, like, basically his new Foggy. She's trying to set him up and, like, trying to, always just joking around with him. And Jerry is a private investigator they use for their law firm. And he's kind of Ben Urich. Now, Ben Urich is a character from the comics who's like basically Jim Gordon for Daredevil. He's an older fatherly figure who like kind of works outside the lines and can help out. But Ben Urich is a newspaper editor. He died in the Netflix show, killed by Kingpin. And that was a choice. So, all right, fine. You don't have Ben Urich. But Jerry kind of fulfills that role of just like older, knowledgeable mentor. And also kind of the priest role. There was a priest in the Netflix series. I don't remember exactly his name. But Matt would often go to him for counsel and stuff. And I don't know if he's going to be in the show or if that actor is still alive. He was pretty old. But this character, Jerry, seems to be fulfilling that kind of role. Nice characters, fulfill their roles fine. I like them so far. I know the bigots and the incels on YouTube are going to be calling them like, "Oh, the show's woke now." Oh my god, because there's black people in it. They're going with a theme of like anti-vigilante stuff with Wilson Fisk. You can see the public is kind of on the fence about it. They don't mention the Avengers at all in these first 2 episodes, which is fine. But if you're going to kind of focus your season on this idea of vigilantism and is it right or wrong and blah blah blah, you might want to bring those guys up because that's kind of there was a whole Civil War movie about this. Because, I mean, they have like a mayoral debate and they're talking about, this guy's position is that vigilantes should be registered, but we shouldn't tolerate them at all, blah, blah, blah. I also wanted to point out that with this theme of the public turning on vigilantes and just the coming after them in general and creating this public sentiment that superpowered people are more dangerous than they are helpful, I think this could be setting up just the public environment for when the X-Men show up eventually and mutants, and we deal with that in a bigger way, because we do need the public to not like superpowered people in order for the X-Men to be oppressed as they are. In episode 2, we see 2 guys beating up another guy in a subway station, and another guy is walking down the stairs, and that guy sees what's happening and goes to stop the 2 guys from beating up just because they're stopping. He's a good Samaritan, seeing someone get assaulted, and steps in to help. And one of the attackers trips and falls into the tracks as a train is coming and immediately is obliterated. Turns out those 2 attackers were police officers. So now this guy is branded a cop killer and he's in jail. Matt is in the precinct for some reason, overhears them like beating him because he's a cop killer. And you know how cops do. And you know how cops do in general. You don't have to kill a cop to get beaten by a cop. So Matt goes to see what's going on and why he's in jail and hear this guy's story. He uses his hearing to hear the heartbeat as he does. That's his thing. To know the man's telling the truth that the guy tripped. But he hears his heart rate elevate when he asks him, "Is there anything else you want to tell me?" Because secretly, and this is found out a little later in the episode, but this guy is the White Tiger. Now, if you're like me and you're a big White Tiger fan, no, I'm kidding. I don't know who White Tiger is at all. I looked it up. It's like, another kind of just street level hero. Some guy named Hector who gets a tiger amulet that gives him like super strength and speed and stuff. That's it. But he wasn't wearing the outfit when he stopped the assault on the subway. He was just dressed as a normal guy. So this is found out later by Jerry, Matt's private investigator friend, who, him and Kristen go to talk to this guy's wife about like, hey, tell us more about him and his life, and we want you to testify at his hearing, say that he's a good man and blah blah blah. And so Jerry's snooping around in the room and finds the White Tiger outfit. So Matt goes to confront him about this, and he's like, "Yeah, I am him, but I'm not. I'm not a bad guy. I'm a vigilante. I'm doing the thing." And of course, this is personal for Matt because Kingpin's told him, "I'm coming down hard on vigilantes." Now Matt hasn't been a vigilante in a while. He's done the Spider-Man No More thing. Like I'm not putting on the suit anymore after and again the Chip Zdarsky run of I almost killed someone. I'm not fit to wear the outfit anymore. I'm not fit to do that job anymore because I would be no better than the Punisher. And we all know how he feels about the Punisher. Now we know Punisher's going to be in this season, so I'm excited to see that dynamic. I do think that they're going to do something similar to what happens in the comics. Punisher being like, "Finally, my boy, Red, you've learned the ways of killing people," and Daredevil be like, "No, I'm nothing like you." Blah blah blah. I also wanted to shout out the cop at the end of episode 2, where Matt's fighting them. You can see a Punisher tattoo on his wrist, which goes to the real life thing of cops having Punisher logos and thinking they're above the law. And I don't think Disney is going to go that deep into that topic because, of course, they wouldn't. But even just showing it a little bit, maybe having Punisher make some comment about it in the show, that might be pretty cool. And I'd give Disney props if they even touching the subject. But if they really did that and gave me a little more politics than I heard was in Captain America 4, I'd be down with that. I'd be happy with that. So, if the season keeps going the way it's going, I'm still watching. There's definitely things I roll my eyes at in just terms of how the show looks, and you can feel Marvel diddling around in there, being like, "Oh, make sure we have this character to set up for this other thing that we have planned, and make sure there's this guy to set up for this other thing we have planned." There's a lot of that, but it's unavoidable at this point with Marvel. I think it's a good start. You definitely look people who are like diehard. I'm dying on the hill of the Netflix shows. You're not gonna. It's diet. It's like Diet Coke. Okay, so if you're used to Coke, you might not like it, or you'll be able to stomach it a little bit like me. Where I'm like, I appreciate the stuff that did come across, the letting actors act and sit there and kind of monologue a little bit or just react. I did appreciate a shout out from Wilson Fisk when he was talking about vigilantes, like we don't need a lunatic with guns and a skull on his shirt. We don't need a crazy guy dressed like a spider. We don't need a lunatic with devil horns. I appreciate the spider reference. There ain't no way they're going to bring Tom Holland in on this show and have Spider-Man show up and fight the Kingpin. I want Spider-Man to fight the Kingpin. Maybe in Spider-Man 4 he'll fight the Kingpin. I don't know. We have our fingers crossed. We're knocking wood. But, nice. I like the shout out. At least he acknowledged him. You remember the old days of comic book movies where if you're watching a Batman movie and they said Metropolis, you're like, ooh, he knows about Metropolis. Maybe there's a shared universe out there that we're just not seeing. That hit that little bone in my body. So I think this is a good start. I hope that they stick to this direction. I hope that it is like trial after trial, including like actual courtroom scenes, which I'm glad we got a little bit of in these first 2 episodes, and just like gauntlets and hurdles and a lot of. I hope they stick to a theme, and that the theme is Wilson Fisk is trying to get rid of vigilantes, and every episode explores a different aspect of what that means. I hope so. I hope that's where most of the conflict comes from, and there isn't too much other stuff, Disney meddling. I also wanted to mention very briefly Kingpin and Vanessa's relationship. Over the course of the show not being on the air, and just hints of Kingpin and Hawkeye and Echo, we've not seen Vanessa at all. Here, Vanessa is very much like they're not even really together anymore, and that the fact that the end of season 3, it was so much about protecting Vanessa and he'll do anything and to save her and whatever, and now it's just kind of like, I know you cheated on me, I promise I won't kill him. Also, we're going to couples therapy, and the therapist is the girl Matt's dating. Oh my god. So, I mean, classic setup. Kind of interesting to see what they're going to do with Kingpin in therapy. Maybe we're going for a Sopranos vibe. Hopefully, I just hope they stick with these themes that they're setting up in these first 2 episodes. Some Disney Plus shows, first couple are really good, and then it dramatic fall off. So I just hope they stick with it. I really like the cast. It's great. You know, they're back. They're doing their thing. The new cast fit right in like a glove. You know, it's jarring. Again, Karen and Foggy immediately ejected from the show. Hopefully Karen comes back. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. And if they do some resurrection stuff, because we know they can. Foggy comes back. I don't know. He's died in the... Look, everybody's died in the comics. Everybody's died in the comics. And come back to life. But, like, who knows what they're going to do with the show. I'm excited to see where it goes. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? I just needed to show a little Poonan. Just a little guy. His name is Rune. He's adorable. He liked the show too. We were watching it together. My fiance, uninterested. But she doesn't like superhero stuff in general, usually. Like and subscribe. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. What'd you think? Did you think it was too Marvel-y or too Disney-ified for you? Or were you okay with the diet version of the Netflix shows? Are you excited to see Punisher? I'm excited to see Punisher and what they do with him in this. I'm excited to see more Bullseye, and to see where the story goes. I hope they stick with this theme, man. I think it would be really cool. How many people think Bullseye is secretly in the movie Thunderbolts? They just haven't shown him in any of the trailers, or they've airbrushed him out. Because in the comics, he's like, I don't think the leader of the Thunderbolts, but he's definitely on the Thunderbolts. And that would be pretty awesome if they did that. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye, Pun.